Welcome to More Than a Few Words, a marketing conversation for business owners. This is your host, Lorraine Ball. And you know that the most effective marketing that you can have is what other people say about you. And collecting testimonials is so valuable, but it's not always easy. And once you get the testimonials, what do you do with them? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. And to have this conversation, I've invited Danielle Klemm to join me. She's a podcast host, an online shop owner, and former ads agency owner turned positioning and funnel strategist. She helps mission driven businesses grow beyond organic only customers confidently and cost effectively. And Danielle, I could go on talking about you forever, but I'd rather talk to you. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am really excited and I'm really intrigued by this whole idea of how do you improve collection of your testimonials and what do you do with them when you get them? So, let's start there. I, I
Yes.
I've got some nice customers. They're saying good things about me. What do I do with that?
Yeah. So I think the normal approach people do, which is it's not a bad one, but they normally just to kind of take what the customer says, slap it up on their website or a new social media post and just call it good. And I think it's good. I mean, at least you're doing something with it. But especially in the age we're in now where, testimonials, especially, they are such a huge influence on people's decision to buy from you, whether it's, a one-off review, whether it's, multiple, Google reviews, Yelp reviews, like they're everywhere. They're there for a reason because the easiest way to have someone talk about something that really is better than you is your customer. So when we're talking about that, I think the biggest thing here, I actually think that collection is important, but also knowing what to do after is even more important. So I'd love to kind of talk about for a second actually what happens post review. Once you actually get one, because you just never know, sometimes people will be nice and maybe send you an email or a DM. And the way that I always see it, and this is a really interesting thing, if you ever think about stories, movies, they have the beginning, middle, and end. There's the character arc, there's the conflict, and then there's the ending. And reviews are actually supposed to follow a similar formula. But a lot of the
Mm.
times, customers, which is very fair, they're on the other side. They're on the after. So they're actually speaking a lot of the times just about the after, but your customers are on the before side. They actually don't really relate as well to it. So what I kind of move into now is focusing on that part.
I love that idea, and you have given me so many different things there. I just kind of want to recapture them a little bit for the audience, and then we're going to go forward. The first is this idea there are that there is this story to there is a story to a testimonial. This is where I was before. This is where I am. This is where I'm going. But by the time someone's getting to write you a testimonial, they're at the end. So
Mhm.
how do you get them back to the beginning?
It's a great question. It's what I think especially if we think about us too, it's just our natural brains kind of speak about where we're at now. So to help them kind of move back into that, this is where the collection process does kind of help, especially if you want to go back to your, really loyal followers or fans. Like I recommend this first with them. And the easiest way is just to politely prompt them, whether this is through, it could be an email, a form. If you're really wanting to go like forward with it, you can do a call and just start to prompt them and ask them, what brought you to wanting to even start, to come in and like what made you interested? And this is where both it's good for the testimonial, but also it's great for your SEO, for your marketing. Like you're actually finally getting some of that marketing language that they wouldn't really know to do, like to actually get there unless prompted. So that's the easiest thing that I would say for the before part is, ask them too, how would you identify yourself? Because I think
Mhm.
we're also so used to kind of not really realizing the demographics that we actually are too.
So, really getting your customers, and there's no reason to wait until the end of the sale. You can ask that question at any time in the process. Why us? Why did you come? What do you like about working with us? And really keep it focused on the early stage. What was their problem? What was their pain? I love that. Okay, so I'm having these conversations. I'm asking people, why do you love me? Why did you come? What were you looking for? Now what?
Now what? So this is where I think it's good to go if you can with the person. Again, this is where you really have to know the relationship you have with that person, because some people are able to ask like one question and then go, and there are other people who might be willing to go a little bit further. So if you have at least one or two people to go further with, I really recommend trying to prompt them, if you have them, for a minute and ask, how would you describe this to your friend? How would you describe where you're at? Because sometimes, again, we have a hard time going into that before part. And if we can take ourselves out of it, it's why everyone always says, what would you say to your best friend? Because it makes us have to really think about that and go outside of ourselves. So that is my favorite question to go into. Now for the middle part, because I think
Mm.
sometimes we have customers who touch on it where they'll say like the product, the product's scent was great. And that's kind of the middle-ish. But the middle really for me is that if you have coaching or if you have some type of service, especially that light bulb moment, that aha, that specific thing you can talk to and then relate to in your marketing. So that's my favorite part for the middle.
That's that's brilliant because there is emotion behind that aha. I'm excited when I have that change or that thing that just clicked for me. So getting people to capture that is wonderful, and doing it in their language, because other people who have a similar problem are going to connect with that. Okay, so I've got my beginning. I know why they came to me. I know what the aha moment was. What's left to talk about?
Yeah, this is where, the ending I think is the easiest part for people because they're at the end, they're at the after. But there are a couple of things that I think are important to touch on here, which is I think the easiest thing to start off anything is always ask, would you recommend us? I think it's like the simple the yes or no. People need the easy answers in there. So this is where the after, I actually believe the after is the easiest part where you could actually lean out a little bit because naturally they're going to be on that side. So if I were speaking to someone, especially on the after, really I'd just focus on that part on, how would you describe this? I know it sounds funny because on the after side, a lot of people still will run through the before and middle. So usually I just let them talk about the after, let them talk about how amazing it is. And then if I feel like I still haven't gotten enough of that like juice or specificity, because specificity creates believability. So if we
Yes.
need to bring that into the before and middle, so if I feel like I haven't gotten enough from them, I'll actually go back for a second and then just slowly prompt them, what have you liked about this? What are you planning on using it for next? What would you love to see more? And then it becomes this really beautiful market language slash testimonial almost, which is what I am trying to help people do, is basically create your own case study. Because that's
Mhm.
really juicy for people. That's where people are going to be able to identify themselves, see how amazing this is. And all you have to do is ask a few questions, know what to pull from that, and then present it in a way that is really digestible for your people.
Okay. So I love that. And I'm with you. I love a good case study. So I've got my before, my middle, my after. I've got this wonderful testimonial. What do I do with it?
Yes. So obviously, still post it on your social media and your website. But I find that this is where you can get really creative with case studies because now you have almost this blog post essentially. I mean, it doesn't have to be
Mhm.
that long, but it's some form of like an article that is your people loving you. So this is where I like to put it where ever I'm on a media. So if you get published on a blog or if you get published on maybe get an interview, if you're at a booth, let's say you actually have a booth, you're selling products, do the QR codes, scan that and have it go straight to your case studies first with a button to your shop, then right after. There's so many ways to play with it. But the great thing about it is that it's helping to shorten the timeline more for your people. So the more that you can just
Mhm.
have it become a part of your natural process. So maybe not your first link that you send, but the second one or wherever you want to put it, it's really going to be valuable for you to put it as many places as you can very strategically because you're going to have a lot of traffic there naturally. Even if you didn't post
Mhm.
it, people are naturally curious about other people's experiences.
Absolutely. And as an SEO geek and a content geek, the thing I love about testimonials, and you kind of touched on it, is you're getting people talking about your product and service using the keywords that they would use, not the ones you think they're going to use. And so the content is really the gift that keeps on giving. Danielle, this has been fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm hoping it's been helpful and a little bit illuminating for everybody who's listening.
It was great. And it is a process I think that people can kind of do in little pieces and get comfortable with it. And I love that. And if you enjoyed this conversation, I'm going to encourage you to check out DanielleKlemm.com and her new website, testimonialart.com. There will be links to both of those sites in the show notes, and you can also look for her on social media. Danielle, thanks again.
Thank you.
And if you've enjoyed this conversation and you'd like to find other resources for your business, look for MTFW wherever you listen to podcasts. Listen to two, they're short. This has been another episode of More Than a Few Words. Thanks for listening.